Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 721, Meals, Reels, and Feels. Hello, Big Chillians, and welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as with Eddie. Eddie, how's it going?
Yeah, things are going well. Fully recovered after my couple of weeks of COVID/flu/ whatever it was, but actually feeling 100% again now. So that's been good. Probably slowed down the recovery, but yeah, I feel pretty good now.
Yeah, my body was wrecked yesterday. I've had like 2 straight days of prepping for my annual lab Christmas party. And I guess literally just standing for so long, whether it was like cooking or like setting up around the house. But I woke up yesterday and my back was just like lit up. So yesterday was a little rough walking around.
You really
yeah.
The
well, when I calculated it, I was basically 42 hours like standing doing something in the past 2 days. Because the day before the party, I went to bed at like 1 or 2 because I was cooking really late, and then woke up again at 6 to do the smoker and get some of the meats on the smoker and get that going, and then finish cooking and doing everything. So it was, and then like the crappy part is like you get everything set up and ready, and you're like, oh, I'm done. And then the party starts, and it's like, I'm done, but everything's literally just begun. So now I have another, the party started at 3 and the last people left at like 2. So another like 11 hours.
It's a pretty solid party.
Yeah, the students don't want to leave. I mean, it's just free food and alcohol. And so, the kitchen was an absolute disaster. Like, I don't know what someone spilled, but it took 2 hours to get it off the floor. It was quite sticky. I'll tell you what, we played a lot of beer pong towards the end. I have to say, talk about old man Duca, the new age of beer pong rules. Just, I had to throw a lot of like, back in the day, we didn't do this.
What are the new rules?
Just like stupid shit. Like, what was the one that kept really pissing me off? I'm trying to think of them. So one of them was like the stupid death cup thing, where like now like people will hit cups, but then they won't tell you which ones you hit. So then if you accidentally leave it there and they hit it again, the game's over. And it's like, no, back when I would play, like if you hit a cup, you were almost responsible for being like, Take that one away, take it. I hit that one. And now it's like they'll hit it, and then like someone will like pull the ball up and like they'll start talking to you, so you don't like realize like what one you pulled it. And like even if you pull the wrong one, like, no, you pulled the wrong one. That was the one I actually hit. Now I hit it again, so the game's over. And it's like, wait, what? This is the dumbest fucking rule I've ever heard. That's the death cup rule. That's a new rule.
Okay. I think that's always the issue with. I've always had. I like beer pong was very fun, gross in a lot like but fun. I mean,
now it's just water though. That's the other thing.
Yeah, I know.
You just play with water.
I don't like
so
that.
Stupid. No, part of beer pong was like it was kind of gross. Yeah, that was part. Like it gave you incentive to not want to lose. Like I don't want to drink this gross beer that's in this cup.
No, I don't want you just like casually sipping on your own beer while I hit shots. And it's just, I understand it is gross, but I survived years of playing beer pong in a very disgusting bar.
Yeah,
and made it through, but. I think was always the killer is that you had people coming from different schools with their own rules. And that was always painful for either have to negotiate beforehand which rules you were adopting, or people mid-game throwing out, they're like, no, this is how everybody plays. It's like, why can't we just do the very basic? You get it in the cup. That's one. You get it in the same cup. Then, you can get the balls back or whatever. That was always a struggle. Yeah. Also a struggle for me because I had all those friends who went to colleges in like the Northeast who were like very insistent on the like Beirut versus beer pong discussion, where they're like, beer pong, you use a paddle.
Yeah.
If you're only throwing it, it's Beirut. and they would
Yeah.
get just
I
like,
think
well,
that argument has finally died.
I don't need to hear this every time we go to play. You know what I'm saying. We both know which
Yeah.
game we're about to play. You don't have to come across as like the smart ass who's going to correct everyone. Be like, well, actually, beer pong uses a paddle.
Yep. Yeah. So that, yeah. And so another quick one. So in the water, using water in the cups is annoying to me. That was another one where I was like, well, let's do beer. Like I kept trying to push it, like, and then no one wanted that. And then the other one, so this one, I guess a lot of people do, but it still always annoys me. Like if the ball rolls back, you have that stupid like behind the back throw, which no one ever fucking makes.
No,
So it's
complete
like
waste of
a
time.
waste of time, and it's so stupid. And then the other one is at the end. So when a game would end, and let's say like I hit the final cup, and then the other team has 4 cups left. How we used to play, and I think a majority of people will play, is each person gets to go until they miss, and they have to hit all the cups or it's game over.
Yes.
The new rule is as long as someone hits 1 cup, then like the round is void and the round starts over again.
Oh,
and then if like both people hit, then like you remove 1 cup and then the round goes again. Like it's the dumbest thing. And it's like, why? I'm up 7 cups. Why do you just have to hit 1 and then we restart this round? Like this is the dumbest thing. I was furious over it. I was so furious.
That, you know what? That's the luxury of people who don't put beers in the cups. Because that's the kind of thing. Because if you were actually pouring physical beers in all those cups all the time, the idea of like re-pouring cups, reorganizing all of that.
Yeah.
But that's the luxury of we just put water in the cups at the start.
Yeah.
So actually, like resetting everything, we can just play forever and we just sip away at our own beers.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really stupid.
These new kids are soft.
If you're halfway decent, you'd stand a pretty solid chance then of resetting the round. Like you would be disappointed with yourself in losing.
Yeah. Yeah. It just makes it really difficult to finally lose, like, or to finally win.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, the beer pong was fun. I do the saran wrap game every year now. It's gotten like very out of control now. This year there was 52 prizes, and then 17 gift cards, like a ton of stickers, other shit. It took like an hour and a half to do it.
So to explain that to listeners, so you wrap these you like build a ball where you're wrapping the presents and like, and if you unwrap it, you get to keep whatever you get.
Yeah. So basically, I have things that actually fit into like a saran, like a ball of saran. So like a gift card fits pretty well. Like little stickers fit well. Like candies I'll put in there and stuff like that. And then I have a bunch of bigger prizes that I buy usually like over the course of the year. And I have like little tokens with a number, and then the little token goes in the wrap game. So if you get the token, then I give you like the corresponding prize. But it's a mix of like half the prizes are nice prizes. And then half the prizes are like gag prizes I buy from like Walmart or the dollar store. Like one was like a LED toilet nightlight, like things like that, like stupid shit that's just kind of funny to give people. Or like one was like a 3-year-old doctor's kit with like the stethoscope and like fake stuff like that. But the nice prizes are nice prizes. I mean, like so this year, usually there's 1 main prize. This year there was 4 main prizes. So like every quarter of the game, a main prize would come out, and they were a T-shirt from my friend Q, who does like the state of Arizona pocket T-shirt. So that was one of them. A State 48 T-shirt was the company up in Phoenix that we had. I had one of their T-shirts. Another one was the Hitster game. That was another prize, which is a great game if no one ever had played it yet. The Hitster music game. That was a good one. The person who won that was super excited. She's like, oh my God, I was literally going to buy this tomorrow when I go home for the holiday so we could play it at home. Like, this is so cool. So that was nice. And then there was one other main prize. The other main prize was really cool. It was a cocktail set, like cocktail shaker with 4 shot glasses, but they were all made of like science containers. So like the shot glasses was like a little mini cylinders and like flasks, and then the shaker was like a graduated flask with like a little top on it that you could like pour out. It was really nice. So that was the person who won that is an alcoholic. So they were really excited. That they really enjoyed that. So yeah. And then like the other smaller prizes, like, I don't know, like candles and prints and like local stuff, usually coffee, mugs, things like that.
And so
it takes a while.
So you unwrap until you unwrap a present and you get whatever that is.
It's a time. It's usually a time. It's usually like you have 2 to 3 seconds to unwrap it, but I have to adjust the time because when you're making it, you think you're like wrapping more than you are. So like once people start like really like, if it gets to 2 seconds and someone unwraps 2 prizes, then I'm like, oh wait, we got to go down to a second now. Cause like the spacing in between is it's really hard to space in the beginning. Once the ball is pretty big, then you know, cause like when you're wrapping it around, you're like, okay, that would take about 3 seconds to unwrap that. But what's really small, and like the people go crazy. They're insane when they unwrap it. So like a few people had to skip a turn because the rule is
too worked up.
No, you can't unwrap it. Like it has to stay in your lap.
Okay.
And so you can't. So for instance, you can't like take the ball, hold on to like the part, and like throw it up. Yeah, and let it drop. So a few people did that, so they have to skip a next turn, and they were not happy. There was debate as to whether it actually happened or if it was like by accident. It was funny.
People lose their minds over gag toilet lights.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the funny part is we couldn't find one of the main prizes. Someone unwrapped it, but we couldn't find it because like we got a decent amount through, and I was like, no, one of the main prizes is definitely like that token is somewhere. Someone unwrapped it, it's somewhere, and we couldn't find it. So I ended up just giving the prize to the person who had won the least. Because what's nice is at the end of the day, everyone usually walks away with like 1 or 2 nice gifts, like 1 or 2 gift cards, some pretty nice like cool stickers, and then like 1 or 2 gag gifts. But one person really didn't win that much, so I gave her the t-shirt. She was pretty excited.
Nice.
And that takes forever to make. I mean, I went through, it was 900 feet of saran wrap. It's a lot. Like my elbow hurt.
Oh my God, you're falling apart. 1 year you have to have one outrageously good gift just to really set people on each other. Be like, there's a car in here, just so everyone knows.
I was going to go old school. I was like, it's an iPod.
Sure, a laptop. An iPad,
a MacBook Pro.
Yeah, just to really get the competition fierce, because it's like, yeah, up to this point, people want them, even the nice things, but really, it's like you're not breaking any hearts if you don't get the T-shirt.
Yeah.
But if you're like, whoa, there's a brand new MacBook Pro in there, I will rip this thing to shreds with my nails.
Yeah, it's like the Office episode when everyone has the white elephant gift, and then Michael comes in with the iPod.
Yeah.
And everyone just fights for the iPod. I should reenact that exactly. I'll get every gift that they gave from the office and then see if someone figures it out as to what the last gift will be. And it is an iPod. It's an out-of-date iPod.
Thing is, iPods nowadays can sell for a ton of money, depending on, if you buy a functioning one, like ones that actually come in the box. Those things are worth a couple thousand if it's still wrapped.
That's crazy.
So,
well, I'll have to find that. That'll be a tough find.
Yeah.
I do go to a lot of state sales. Maybe an old person bought it 8 years ago, died, or forgot about it, and then died.
But speaking of the festive period, just to really do something nice and throw a former co-host under the bus, this is my Christmas present to Sam. Every once in a while, I know this isn't like a novel idea, but you're kind of scanning through Instagram reels, and it shows you who that's liked a particular reel. And I always find that to be a really interesting insight into this part of other people's characters that sometimes can surprises you. Like, for example, our friend Furlong, he likes a lot of the like cartoony couple reels of like the cartoon.
Oh no,
boyfriend.
Not those ones that we make fun of. They're not actual cartoons.
No, they're actual cartoons.
Oh boy. I thought you were talking about the one where it's like the fake like
no.
How my boyfriend reacts to me, blah blah blah.
No, the completely fake stuff. No, these are actually animated cartoons where it's like the girlfriend sort of sort of shuffling in bed because she wants her back scratched, or the boy, asking for a glass of water.
I've never hit these.
Oh, well,
These have not come up.
I'll start sending you a couple.
No, please don't.
They're not in my reel at the moment, but there was a period where I was getting quite a lot of them. And because I do think you're obviously influenced in terms of what can be pushed in your direction by something someone you interact with likes. That's obviously part of the algorithm. So I was starting to get these for a bit. I never interacted with any of them, so they've disappeared at this stage.
I'm still recovering from the stupid cooking video one.
Oh, yeah, those are gone for me.
You got me on. God, I'm still getting those.
Those are gone for me. But like Furlong was constantly liking these, which I always found interesting, because then what is you start to piece their life together. Okay, not only is he liking this, but he's definitely sending this to his wife, or she is sending it to him. This is you start to shape this potentially imaginary interaction that's happening in your head, but like Instagram is allowing you to do this. Former co-host Sam today, I was just woke up, I was having breakfast and scanning through some Instagram reels really casually.
So when you say like you're seeing that they like, it's literally you're just on your reels and you happen to see at the bottom left it's like so and so like
a little heart, and you can see.
I never really look to see who likes things.
Sometimes like if it's multiple people, it's very visible because they do little. So, but if you have just one, it's a little hard to see because it is just the written.
Not getting by you though. Definitely not.
Sometimes I notice, because I only notice when it's like, this is a fucking weird video. Why has this appeared for me? So he liked this video now you're going to know, the thing is, it's from a girl called Addie Gutierrez, XOXO, I guess.
Oh, she's great.
She's this like morbidly obese woman who just films what she eats over the course of the day.
No way! Are you fucking kidding me? I just saw this the other day and I was like, why is this on my feed? I'm not fucking kidding you. I saw this. Oh my God. If this is fucking Sam throwing this into my reels, I'm going to fucking kill him. Because I literally I know exactly what you're saying. And I watched this and I was like, why is this person putting it on this? Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but like the comments are going to go insane on this. Like, what am I watching right now? I cannot believe this is amazing.
It's like, this one, which is what you're gonna laugh, because this one was "I love donuts" was the caption on this one, and then hashtag like what I eat in a day, all these usual hashtags, a lot of which are associated with like healthy eating. But this one, I mean, she's huge, and she's in her car eating like an eclair for breakfast that she dunks in milk. And then she just eats that and then follows it up with like a donut and then some some kind of fried chicken thing for lunch. I don't know. But there it is, liked by Sam. And then I looked at someone liked a few of her videos, which got me really interested into what is Sam liking and why.
That's so weird. Yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with the person. I mean, my thing is like, I don't know why someone would do that to themselves, because the comment section it's got to be off the chains. Like, I mean, for instance, Sydney Sweeney, who is one of the most beautiful people on the planet right now, like gets fat shamed for putting pictures up. And then she had to put up this video where she it was a recent Instagram thing that was like all over social media about how she made this video of responding to the people who make all these comments and then putting up a video of her training for her. She's going to be like a boxing movie. So she's doing like a lot of like mixed martial arts and boxing training. So she put up a video of like putting the shamers to shame or whatever. And it's like, that's nice. And that's great. But at the same time, you look at some of the comments that the people are posting about her and you're like, either this person's just trolling you and doing it to be an asshole, or I don't know, they're weird, but like, you obviously know you're one of the most like best looking people in the world. Like, I don't know if I fully buy that that really bothers them, but maybe it does. And that's okay. But that's Sydney Sweeney who's getting trolled. Like, she's just fat with boobs, you know? It's like, I don't know about that, but like, I couldn't imagine what this person
I'm having a look
has on the comments.
Actually pretty positive. She's obviously tapped into a community of sort of positive body sort of reinforcement. So it's a lot of people telling her, you are very beautiful, invest in your beauty. One person, I feel like you definitely have an understanding of calories in versus out. Based on what she looks like, I would say Probably not, but I'm not trying to be mean there. But and then people just like, did you make that grilled cheese? And the only mean one person wrote like
Sam.
seriously,
Sam. The only mean one is
just
Sam.
fucking bullying her. One person wrote like seriously, does anybody watch this? I'm out of here. And then one person wrote, her pronouns are KGS, LBS, and tons. But for the most part, it's like pretty positive stuff. Like it's hard to in this instance, she can safely kind of read the comment section, which is pretty stunning.
Yeah, unless she's filtering them.
Possible. Yeah, she's possible that she's deleting it, but
I mean, yeah, that's good for her then, and that's like, but one, I don't even understand those videos to begin with. Like, I don't care when anyone does it. I don't understand, because half the time, like, the thing that really bothers me is the people who are like, it's just so easy to eat what I eat, when you don't really work and do anything and have 6 hours to meal prep. You know, it's like, yeah, great. I don't have that. It's like,
I mean, it's weird because her videos are usually titled like what I eat as in a day as a fatty. So she is kind of preempting, because sometimes you see these people who have a certain body type and then they're posting what they're eating as if it's super healthy. And I think that gets the hate because it's people wanting to like prove that person wrong. She's sort of owning the fact that what she's eating isn't that bad, isn't that great, but it's not awful either. I will say most of her videos seem to be relatively normal food, but quite a lot of it. But
you just said she had an eclair dipped in milk.
That was the one breakfast.
I don't think for breakfast. I don't think I've ever fucking done that in my life. Let alone for breakfast.
The wild thing about that too is she's eating it in her car, and she's obviously prepped for this meal. So she stops somewhere to get the eclair, but then she just has a glass of milk ready to go for the dunking. That's where you got to question some life choices.
Maybe she's got like a fridge in there. She's got milk on tap.
But yeah, it's just always interesting to me, these little insights that Instagram gives you. Every once in a while I see something, I'm like, I did not expect Frank.
I can't believe that was Sam that put that into my reel. I honestly saw it, not that one. I saw a different one, but it was like the same thing. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Because occasionally I get the fit people ones, because obviously like I'll look at like, you know, lifting videos and workout videos and things like that. So every once in a while it's like, you know, some like super fit model who's like, this is what I eat in a day. And it's like 4 egg whites with half an avocado. And it's like, no, I'm done. Like, I don't give a shit about this. You know what I ate for breakfast? 2 fucking breakfast burritos from a drive-through salad and go. That's what I ate this morning.
He isn't following her, so he's not gone that far. But yeah, you can blame him.
No, he's just stalking her for reverse reindeer games.
Because that is the thing. A lot of these types, I presume there's like a fetish element a lot of the time, which is the other thing that creeps me out about it, is you're seeing them and you're like, oh boy. I'm also worried for reading this comment section because there's going to be some real sickos in there. Like, I fully expect it to be 60% hate, then like 35% creeps, and then 5% people defending defending the person. But yeah, she seems to have cultivated a relatively healthy community, so I guess good for her.
Nice. Actually, speaking of social media, I have one more topic then that came up that I wanted to get your opinion on, because I know you can be quite controversial. Randy Moss, in the past like 2 weeks, has gone like this weird, he had a very strange way of announcing that he had cancer, but now has recovered from having cancer.
It was very confusing.
It was very confusing. But regardless of it, it seems like he's okay, and that the last thing that was, he had recovered from it. And yesterday's game, Justin Jefferson scored a touchdown, and his celebration was like a heart to Randy Moss, and like, you know, we love you, Randy. Everyone here is thinking about you. You know, Vikings. It was nice. Moss replied, put on Twitter or something like that, like thank you or something like that, and then he put a hashtag that said, "Let's Moss Cancer." How do you feel about that, Eddie? How do you feel about someone putting their own name into trying to make a hashtag about beating cancer? And go.
See, it doesn't annoy me. I'll give him credit that actually, like, he at least, like, mossing someone became a verb. So he at least benefits from the idea of, like, catching the ball over someone. I can live with that. But at the same time, I don't think the thing that's been holding back cancer research has been a lack of catchy hashtags. So I don't think it's like there's some scientists in the lab somewhere being like, finally, this is what we needed. We couldn't quite figure it out. But now with this extra little bit of motivation combined with, I'm sure, the floods of donations that are going to be pouring in as a result of that catchy hashtag. But I'll give Randy Moss a pass. The whole cancer situation with him was bizarre, like impossible. Because he appeared on one show and like alluded to the fact that he'd been sick, and then someone else in ESPN sort of like outed him for having had cancer or having cancer, which he then initially denied, weirdly.
Yeah.
And then was like,
then
no,
he stepped down. Well, no, first he said he's stepping down for personal reasons.
And he commented on the fact that people had been commenting on the fact that he looked sick. Like that he had sort of jaundice looking eyes. His eyes were really glazy and yellow and stuff. So he had addressed that fact. And then someone, I can't remember which one of whether it was Shams or Adam Schiff, like whichever one of the kind of news breakers was like, he has cancer. Sort of break away from my upcoming, hey, normally I'm breaking contract negotiations and trades. My new breaking news is
Daniel Jones has signed with the Vikings.
And Randy Moss is dying. And also too, the cancer that he's now said he had, like, sounds very bad. He had
I didn't even hear like anything. I didn't even hear what it was.
Something involving his pancreas and his liver, and
really,
not good stuff.
Wow.
Not good. But he didn't say I had pancreatic cancer or liver cancer. It was like cancer in that area. It was very weird.
Was it biliary duct cancer?
Could be, but there's just a lack of clear information. Not that Randy Moss needs to be providing us with clear information on his health, but it's kind of fueled the interest based on how vague various updates have been. But yeah, I can live with that hashtag. So long as I'll let him do it once. Don't have it be a thing.
I think it's going to be a thing.
There'll probably be some t-shirts. We're going to get Live Strong again. You know, like let's learn our lessons from that, and let's not associate good positive movements with individual people where we then have to like apologize for donating money to cancer research and rip apart the association because this guy took drugs. Like, let's stop doing a good thing because this one person did a bad thing once.
I think now I'm actually going to switch my research into cancer research, and then the first like good drug that I hopefully develop, it's going to be a picture of a cancer cell, and then it's going to be Randy Moss jumping over it with like a syringe and then like implanting it in. And it's going to say, "I Mossed cancer."
Oh, that's going to get some anti-vaxxers really worked up.
Just a syringe?
Yeah.
Just a picture of a syringe.
Yeah, that just that. I mean, that's great for you though, because that will get engagement across everything. So that will be perfect. You're talking about the comment section. You'll have a bunch of people loving defeating cancer, then the anti-vaxxers weighing in, then the people attacking the anti-vaxxers. It will be perfect. Those things will take off.
Last, I guess, social media that can switch us into some sport. I sent you yesterday a YouTube video on Matt Smith, who most people in the UK would know as former Doctor Who. Most people in the States would know as Targaryen on Game of Thrones,
or he was Prince Charles in
Dragons,
Prince
Charles in The Crown. Yeah. So between those two, I think everyone in the world knows who Matt Smith is. I sent you the YouTube video yesterday. He is obviously a diehard, lifelong Rovers fan, and he was at the latest Blackburn match. Got to be in the owner's suite and had a nice little gig. Got to go on the pitch and. Seemed like he was really enjoying himself, and actually seemed very genuine in his discussion. Like, I've seen him in interviews, and he's one of those people who puts on like not an act, but knows how to do interviews to promote or do whatever he's doing. He's very good at that. This seemed like a guy who rolled up to a pub and you just started talking to about Blackburn, and he was just kind of reminiscing about why he loved the club and the greatest moments and this and that. And he definitely he wasn't one of those people who's like, oh yeah, I love Liverpool, huge Liverpool supporter, like as an actor, but he knew everything about it. He knew the dates, he knew the times, he was telling you specific matches. So that was really cool to see. So I guess my thing now, Eddie, is he was very excited because as of now, they have slowly made their way back up the table and are currently sitting in 5th place, which would put them into a playoff for promotion. They've won their last 6 in championship, which is very impressive. We're about at Christmas. How are we feeling, Eddie?
I mean,
we're about halfway through the season.
It's impressive for sure. The run of form is really good. They're keeping a ton of clean sheets, which is, like you'd always say that if you're defensively solid, that's much more sort of predictable than if you're scoring lots of goals. The goals can dry up faster. It would still concern me, that 20 matches in, they've only scored 25 goals. That's a concern. And so they'll definitely need some investment in the January transfer window in order to address that fact. And I doubt that investment will come because there's, the owners are no longer putting money into the club. All of the sales, the big transfers that were generated over the last 12, 18 months, Adam Lorden leaving, Adam Armstrong leaving, some big sales that have happened. The David Raya, when he went to Arsenal, there was a sell-on fee for that the club got. All of that money has gone to keep the lights on, and that's meant that there's been really no money available for transfers, and I don't think that will change anytime soon. And so because of that, I think, unfortunately, the squad will eventually be exposed. I was not the biggest John Eustace fan when he first became manager. He's sort of slowly won me over time. So I'll give him that. It's a little bit of negative football, and we can probably get onto that too when we speak about Arsenal later in the podcast. But, it's not the most fun to watch, but as long as you're winning, as with any sport, you can take negative tactics or a negative style of play as long as the results are there. The fear is that once the results dry up, then you're just left with zero entertainment. Like, you can grind out a hard-fought win. It's not very pretty, but you win. That's fun as a fan still. But if you grind out a boring loss, then that's a little bit harder to live with. So long and the short of it is, I felt like I've been here before as a Blackburn fan over the last 4 or 5 seasons. We've been in the playoff picture pretty much every season at the turn of the year. Like, we've been in the top 2 to 5 pretty much. And then, last year we were doing really well in November and nearly got relegated.
Spectacularly collapsed.
So, I felt like we've been here before. It's only ended up in one season where the playoffs were a possibility on the final day, and then things weren't even in their own hands. So I'm definitely not counting any chickens, Venky's or non-Venky's chickens, but
I don't get the reference.
Yeah, Blackburn owners are they made their money.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's good. It's definitely frightened my mood on a weekend. As sad as it is to say, but you're emotionally involved in a sports team, and it's a little bit of a bummer when they lose every week. So at least now, I went to watch the Arsenal match on Saturday with our friend George, and whilst he was being frustrated by Arsenal, I was like, "Oh look, Blackburn are winning. That's nice." That was a positive. But overall, I'm expecting the other shoe to drop at some point. On the Matt Smith
I should say they're 5th with a game in hand too, so technically they could be in 4th, and only technically if they were to win the game in hand, they'd only be 2 back of an automatic promotion.
They're not getting automatic promotion. This is not happening. And I'll say this, not only this is the other reason why I'm not getting too ahead of myself. They're definitely not getting into the top 2, and even if they finish in the top 6, they're not winning a playoff. They're not winning. They're not going through 3 games of basically must-win football and surviving that when you don't have a real goal threat. That's
what's tough is when I look at the top of the championship standings, like the table, it seems like a lot of good clubs. Like I feel like it's a tough year for them. I mean, you have Sheffield United, Leeds, and Burnley, who are in the top three, who are all recently relegated. So obviously they're going to be strong. But then you also have like Watford, West Brom, who are below them, can be like strong clubs as well. Like it just seems very packed with a lot of clubs that have been in the Premier League recently or have been very close. Like if they are able to do it, it's a difficult year to do it.
No, for sure. And look, at some point, something has to be fixed in how the economics of the championship work with the parachute payments that relegated clubs get, because it does just make it nearly impossible for a club like Blackburn that's not been in the Premier League now for a decade, well, just over a decade. You cannot compete with Burnley or Leeds in terms of their spending power, how the financial fair play rules are favorable to relegated sides. The only ones who are making it seem fair are Luton, because they're just having a disastrous season post relegation. But yeah, it's tough. And on the Matt Smith note, he came across as super genuine. He's always spoken he's always said that he was a Blackburn Rovers supporter. So it's not like it's new. It's not a cool thing to be either. So I do think, compared to people who come out and be like, I'm an Arsenal fan, it's like, yeah, you are now. What were you in 2011? Probably not. You were probably just becoming a Manchester City supporter, I would bet. But so that I think is different. And then the only thing I know, I haven't really gone in the comment section on his post. He did insist on calling it Blackburn all the time. And I know that Blackburn Rovers supporters will get very annoyed that you're just supposed to refer to them as Rovers. I think that works when you live in and around the area of Blackburn and people know what that means. But it's very hard. People give me a hard time sometimes when I've gone back and I'm a Blackburn fan. You mean you're a Rovers supporter? It's like, yeah, okay. But if I say in Paris, I'm a Rovers supporter, there's a lot of follow-up questions or just a very boring look. So if you don't live in the area, you get used to the Blackburn thing, but I'm sure that's the only, and I'm very envious of the fact that he got to sit next to Morten Gamst Pedersen. That was the thing that I really, I'm a huge Morten Gamst Pedersen fan. He would be up there on former Blackburn players to spend some time with. And I love that he's still kind of involved in the club and goes back pretty regularly, and kind of one of those former players who loves the relationship he has with the team he used to play for, which is always nice to see. And that I would have loved to have sat next to Morten Gamst Pedersen for a match and just gone over stories there. All right. Do we quickly, as we're on the topic of football, do a little Premier League roundup before we get on to the NFL?
Yeah, so we can do it as a way of, speaking of Instagram, we can keep in this social media thread that we've got going here. There was a post Bleacher Report put up with one word to describe every Premier League team. I'll throw a few at you. You tell me if you agree, disagree. We'll start with Liverpool, who are clear at the top of the table. Theirs is controlled.
Yeah, that seems fair. They're the best team in the league over the course of this period, but they are not sort of explosive or exciting in a lot of matches. Like there is a certain, that seems like a fair adjective.
Yeah. Yeah. When I think of controlled, I think of like the team that is kind of boring, but is never in doubt that they're going to win that match. I think that kind of is Liverpool to an extent. We'll shout out a friend of the podcast, Ollie. Chelsea, surprisingly, are stable.
I think that's doing a disservice to Chelsea, because I get what they're saying, because it's a club that desperately lacks stability over the last couple of years, and it does feel like they now have a clear plan in place and a vision, and they are building towards something, and everyone is very much on the same page. Even today came out and reiterated again, they are not title challengers, even though the gap between them and Liverpool is closing by the week. But I would give them, I think they must be more in the sort of exciting category than just stable, because they are playing probably the best attacking football in the country. So to just call them stable, Liverpool are stable. Like there's a...
But that would be two words, Eddie.
Yeah. I understand where they're coming from, but I think it is underselling how good Chelsea have been, certainly over the last couple of months. Maybe slightly hit by Mudryk failing a drugs test. So
Yeah,
he's
we've all been there,
suspension
right?
coming, but he wasn't the most important player for them, but still not ideal. But yeah, I think they deserve slightly better accolades than that.
Let's move down to some of the clubs now that are in uh-oh mode. Friend of the podcast. I'm just calling him friend now. I'm not even saying former co-host anymore. It's been so long. Arsenal regressing.
Yeah, I think they're definitely regressing. I think if I could turn window closing into a single word, hyphenate that and have that count as a single word, I think that it would work. I really think this for Arsenal supporters. You must be looking at what you're having now. It's over. I don't mean the title. Like there was a couple of years where it felt like we are the heirs apparent. This is going to be us, and then Liverpool and Chelsea have just put things in place and gone, actually, no, they might be.
I was going to say ladder collapsing with a hyphen.
Yeah, there might be a power change that we're about to see, and with City not being as strong as they once were, but it is very much Liverpool and Chelsea who are about to take that particular mantle. So, yeah, I think for Arsenal, this has to be. I do feel genuinely sort of sorry for them. Because no, people think I hate Arsenal. I don't. I hated certain things about how confident about how confident their supporters were. And I'll say this right now: I hope Liverpool blow the title because the Liverpool supporters are like counting this, Premier League title already, and happy to throw all of the positive adjectives in the direction of Arne Slot. So I'm hoping Liverpool also blow it. Like I'm sort of a Chelsea supporter, I have to say, which is something that people would listen back to the podcast. And 2 years ago, I would have been slating Chelsea. So it shows that it's not like deep rooted hatred. It's just a reaction to what's happening in the moment.
It's just you.
No, but I mean,
you and your attitude. People are starting to see it.
There's positivity there, but yeah, for sure. I think it must be really kind of depressing to be an Arsenal supporter now, because you have to think they are so far away from all of those things they didn't address when they had the opportunity to, like a clear goal scorer. And we had so many podcasts where we told them, you need a goal scorer. You're probably just a goal scorer away.
They didn't listen to us.
They didn't. They should have done. God, I could have got a huge consulting fee from Stan Kroenke or something. But now they're more than just that one piece away. And also, they're not in the same position they were to get that one piece. Because 12 months ago, you could have gone to pretty much any goal scorer in Europe and said, hey, come here. You're going to be our Erling Haaland. You're going to be the individual difference maker. As a result of that, you're going to get so much of the credit. Like, yeah, Saka's already a big part and Odegaard's popular, but you'll be the thing. Look what happened to Haaland. People forgot about De Bruyne. People forgot about all those players. And now it's like, well, you could come and score 25 goals and we'll finish third.
So, I've never thought about this little sidebar, because I also want to get back to something else you said before. But like in American sports, part of the recruiting a player to come to your team or your club, you kind of have to spin where you're going as well. So like, obviously, it's like, oh, like come to the Knicks, like you'll be in New York City, man. Isn't it amazing? Versus like, hey, come to, like the Columbus Blue Jackets, you'll be living in Ohio. Like, isn't that so fun? But I never thought about it for European football. Is there any advantage to Arsenal being like a London club where they can recruit international players a little easier, being like, hey, come play for us. We're obviously a top 10 club in the world, but in addition, you get to be in London, which is like the greatest city ever, blah, 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 versus like, hey, come to, even maybe Man City, like having someone decide whether they want to live in Manchester versus London. Does that ever factor anything?
Oh, 100%. You definitely, for two reasons. One, people want to live, you're moving your family and your wife or girlfriend somewhere, so they're going to have an opinion on it. So you tell your wife, we've got two options. We can go and play in Newcastle, or we can go and play for Chelsea. and a lot of people are going to favor being London based, especially if you're also foreign. In London, you can find your little community. You can probably find
Yeah,
people from your
that's what
country.
I
You
was thinking. Yeah,
have like restaurants, or the food that you like will exist there. Whereas once you go more remote, chances aren't. It's true that compared to some places in the US, that obviously everything is so much smaller that you can live in
yeah,
Manchester and you can go to London regularly, and it's not that big of a deal. You can even potentially, like some players
live in
do, like
London.
live in London and then commute for their training, depending on how far away they're going. So, I think it's not quite as much of a deal breaker as it would be, say, in that comparison of like New York versus Columbus, or New York versus like Minneapolis.
Kansas
Like,
City.
yeah, like it's harder because you're not going to be it's a 2-hour drive. If I really want to, like, I can go somewhere else. But it definitely is a factor. And there are players who openly speak about the fact that if they're going to England, they want to be in London. Like that's something you do here.
Interesting. I've never thought about it, because like I always think it's such a smaller spot that it doesn't factor in as much. But then when you think about it, like, yeah, I definitely want to fucking live in London versus some other places. I'm not going
It
to say anything
depends.
because I don't want to upset anyone.
Manchester and Liverpool are obviously, they've had their little renaissance in the last 20 years or so. So they're great places to live now or visit. So they'll win you over. But take Aston Villa now. Champions League football, but if they're going head to head for a player and it's like, do you want to go and live in the Midlands? I say this as someone who lived in the Midlands and I enjoyed it. So I'm not saying there are really nice places, but if you're 25 or under and you really want to focus on, I want a cosmopolitan life and I want to go to bars and clubs sometimes and I want to experience all of that, then, there's a lot of clubs where that's
Yeah.
not going to be the option. And London is just so much more appealing.
So the other thing that you said before we kind of got on that was you're starting to see a little bit of like a changing of the guard with like Liverpool, Chelsea, and then City and Arsenal dropping. I don't know if I see City dropping that much. Arsenal, I think I agree, but with City, I feel like one, they'll just reload in the offseason and address whatever they need to. But two, they also were hit with two very big injuries. I mean, Rodri and De Bruyne are both going down. Like, the ball was always going through those two. So it's very difficult when you lose the two most important pieces out of your 11 that you're still going to be successful. So I think maybe you just chalk it up to that. Like next year, if they put out the same club and everyone's healthy, I mean, there's no way someone can tell me they're not a top 3 club.
No, I mean, they're probably a top 3 club even now. I do think they'll improve. I think the thing I would struggle with a little bit, you're right, particularly in the moment, I think almost everyone didn't appreciate how significant that Rodri injury was going to be. But you really look, De Bruyne, there's something more going on there. He hasn't just been injured. There's been times where he's been available to play and he hasn't played. So I think there's some issue there between him and Guardiola that's bigger than just his fitness. But in addition to that, you kind of came to certain members of their team, they're just coming towards the end of their era. Like Kyle Walker is a spent force at this stage. So they've got to replace Kyle Walker. Defensively, Guardiola is fine going forward. I don't think defensively he's great. You could tell me they need 4 new defenders. I think I would believe it. Ederson, I don't know what's happened to him. They must really regret the fact they didn't sell him to Saudi Arabia in the summer because he's awful now. I mean, he just he goes on walkabouts regularly in the course of matches, gets them into trouble. Gundogan, they got to regret bringing him back. That's pretty terrible. Foden's had a real drop off this season in terms of his form. Bernardo Silva's kind of ticking along still, but I kind of really look at them and I think, who would I feel confident about building a side around? Haaland, sure. Foden, sure. Silva, sure. De Bruyne, sure. And then after that, and Rodri when he's back. And after that,
Stones.
it's Stones, but he's always hurt. Stones. Like, you have to accept with John Stones, he's really great for the 30% of the season he's available. And you have to hope that coincides with all of your big matches. So yeah, I think it's a big rebuild for Manchester City. And what would concern me is, I mean, it does feel like Pep Guardiola is having a mental breakdown on this as we're watching. The negativity coming out from him is remarkable. Like post that Manchester United match, he made the comment in the post match. He said, "I guess last season we would have thought we could have held on to a lead for 2 minutes." Like that was his comment. What a depressing an assessment of where the club is now. And he's being truthful, and then he feels like now they have no confidence in their ability to keep a clean sheet. But not only that, you watch them and you expect them to concede goals pretty much every time the opposition attacks. You expect them to make mistakes. They're also not as ruthless going forward as they once were. So I think this is a pretty sizable rebuild. And the thing that would concern me if I were Manchester City, yes, you had Pep Guardiola sign his 2-year extension. This rebuild is going to take longer than 2 years. So I think you kind of have to have an honest conversation with him at the end of this season and say, look, we need a rebuild and it has to start now. So unless you're willing to do this job for 4 more years, we're better off getting someone new in, because there's no point of like a semi-Pep rebuild and then someone else takes over. Like it's actually one of the benefits in a sense almost with like Liverpool, right? Like Slot took over at just the right time. You don't want to have that similar, you don't want to hand the keys over to the next Manchester City manager when you feel like you need to sign 9 players and when nothing is in place and there's no experience or stability within the squad.
Anything else Premier League related you want to cover?
No. I mean, obviously for Manchester United, that was an unexpected 3 points. I still think they look pretty awful. They've conceded from a set piece in every match since they've had the change in manager, so that's worrying for them too. But yeah, no, I think in Southampton are spectacularly bad. That has to be depressing to be a Southampton supporter. But no, I mean, it looks like we could end up with a decent title race, you know, if Liverpool can slip up like one more time in the next month, let's say. You know, they got a couple of interesting opponents over the course of December, early January. But no, I think overall, I think Chelsea will win the Premier League. I'll say that now. That's my end of year prediction. I think Chelsea are going to win the league.
Wow. Well, I'm still not holding out hope that City can come back, because my $32,000 anti-post is already halfway there, and that's literally looking like the only thing that's going to lose.
Also, the thing that sucks for you, is there even a cash out option on that bet?
No, because I think I boosted.
Because even if there were, the cash out would be so awful, because City are like 10-1 at the moment to win the Premier League. So you wouldn't even be looking at a good cash out option.
It's not looking good. So it's, yeah, but I already have Georgia, which was unreal at the time, like 6 weeks ago. Texans, Chiefs. Well, actually, no, this is going to lose anyway now that I think about it, because it's got the Niners. I didn't realize I had the Niners. I have one that does and one that doesn't.
Yeah, the Niners are done.
Then never mind. We're okay. That's gone.
Yeah, and I guess that's a good enough way to transition over to the NFL. Not the most compelling week of games. Everything
a little
kind of went to form, but
yeah, I had one loss that really fucked my bet. I had a nice bet to pay off the party that I had to throw, and I lost it. Do you want to take a guess at it was all money line? Want to take a guess?
Let me remind myself. There was one game going on. Oh, the Chargers.
Nope.
Oh,
avoided that. Avoided the Chargers.
This is Sunday.
Yeah, it was a ballsy pick. It wasn't ballsy. It was me being a little more confident in a team against a team that's good. It was a game I shouldn't have bet.
The Lions.
Yeah.
That's rough. I bet on the Bills.
I thought about I got influenced by other people. You know, I think sometimes when you listen to too much things, it goes 2 ways. Either one, you hear someone talk about something and you're so against what they're saying that it drives you to like go even further against them. And that works really well, because teams like Seattle, who people were like, the Seahawks are good. And I'm like, they're not fucking good. I watch them every fucking week. Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
that was his bet of the week. He's like, I'm telling
Yeah.
you, man, the Seahawks, they're good. I'm like, are you watching these games you say when you have 6 fucking screens on? Because I've watched the Seahawks for 7 weeks and
Do you
they're
know what?
not good. They hit random throws, but they constantly stall on drives. They're not good.
What I hate about Simmons, we have, and to a certain extent, cousin Sal too. I enjoy that Sunday interaction,
Yeah.
but is that so many of their opinions are impacted by like bets they've won or lost. So they've won money consistently on the Seahawks over the last 6 or 7 weeks. So not only do they enjoy watching the Seahawks, but they've gone up in their estimations, all those types of things. A team can lose the money. For example, Simmons is always really down on the Bills. It's just because he picks the Bills wrong every time.
Always thinks the Bills suck.
So he can't accept that the Bills are good because they aren't. He's now like committed to betting against them in big moments, and so therefore he has to like find an excuse. I will say on that Bills Lions game, if you think of it like a horse race and their sort of form guide, if there's ever going to be a Super Bowl matchup, I think you throw that game out because it was just such a wild game that whoever won that, yeah, both teams will feel good, but both teams also feel kind of bad. Like you can't let an opponent score 42 points and walk away from it being like, we got him, guys, if we play him next time. So it was a weird one.
No, it was tough. As soon as it went 14-0, I knew I was screwed. And I knew it would be close. I knew like it would still stay close, but it's one of those games where like if you were down 1 score, you can hope maybe like not even that you stop them. Like you get a turnover, like a stupid play, a fumble, you get the ball and you can like get a quick switch and get back. But when you're down 2 scores and having to think like now you've got to stop Josh Allen 2 more times and you have to continue to score those times, I knew it wasn't going to happen. I knew it would stay close, but they wouldn't come back. And I was kind of kicking myself because part of me was like, just avoid this game. These are 2 really good teams who it means something, but it kind of also doesn't mean something because they're not within the same conference.
Well,
I should have avoided it, but
it meant more to the Lions.
Yeah, because they needed to. Yeah,
you picked the team who actually it was the more meaningful. Like the Bills, it kind of doesn't matter to anymore, but the Lions.
I just thought the Lions D would be a little better than they were, and unfortunately for them, they're actually getting worse because they lost another player out for a year, and then Montgomery is now out for the year. So. Talk about, we talk about the Niners.
Injuries are not excuses.
Yeah, but that's why the Lions are still, top of the NFC here, and somehow the Niners, who have the same amount of injuries, are fighting for the first pick.
No, the Niners have more
drafts.
But yeah, I think the concern for the Lions is definitely the number of injuries they have on defense, and like there is a point of no return there in terms of like, and the worry for them is. You don't win a Super Bowl. Like they can't come away from that game being like, all we needed was 1 more stop. We could have won that 42-41 because that's not how you're going to win playoff games or the Super Bowl. Like you need to fix more than just that in order to really be confident going into big games.
So I guess speaking of fixing things, I guess one of the things that's interesting, I feel like there's 2 stories out there on the Lions right now, in particular Dan Campbell. There are people who think Dan Campbell is this amazing motivator coach. Look what he's done to this team. This was a Lions team that people would just make fun of for decades, and now they are a powerhouse. And then there is a pretty strong amount of, I would almost say, expert opinions, like not your average fan, but people who are dedicated to the sport, who are kind of throwing the story out that Dan Campbell is almost ruining the Lions' chances of being a legitimate Super Bowl contender, that they have assembled one of the best 53-man rosters in many years, and he is actually making a mess of this team and could really cost them when all's said and done. And then the most recent incident is him down 10, I think they were, right? Down 10 with 10 minutes left in the 4th quarter, and he declares for an onside kick, which they did not get, and then the Bills went, I think, had an easy field goal. I think they didn't score a touchdown. They stopped them, quote
Well,
unquote,
not
with
only
a field goal. But you're
well
already in field goal range.
well they returned the onside kick to like the 10-yard line.
Yeah.
That also worked against them. It wasn't
Yes.
just that they recovered the onside kick. He actually like broke through on the onside kick recovery.
Now, to me, I'll say my 2 cents, then you can jump in. This is one of the dumbest fucking things you can do. And this is, I think, when coaches think they're smarter than they are, but they're actually just really fucking stupid and they don't understand basic math. The ability to get an onside kick in today's NFL it's under 10%. I think it's like 8% is the conversion rate. That means that you have only 8% confidence that if you kicked it deep, that your team would stop them from not scoring. It's not like they didn't need to stop them on the first drive. They had 10 minutes left. Like, even if they had 4 minutes of a drive and then eventually got the ball back, that's not the end of the world. You still have 6 minutes left, down by 10. But you think your percentage is so low that your team will not be able to stop them and have them punt, compared to literally giving them the ball almost already in scoring range. It's the dumbest thing. Like, you cannot think that to be true. You cannot do the math and say this is the smarter move statistically, because you're a fucking idiot if you think that's the case. It was such a dumb, and I'm not saying this, I didn't even watch the fourth quarter. Like, the party was already going on. I thought the game was over. Like, I saw this afterwards. So it's not me being pissed because the bet lost. Like, it's just so dumb. It's so stupid.
So I was watching. I did think it was stupid because you're right. The success rate of onside kicks now, it's like 2-3%, something like that. In since they made the change to the rules. And yes, in the past you would have always said, well, we could hit them with a surprise onside kick, like famously, right, to start the second half of that Colts Saints Super Bowl, when the Saints decided to start the second half and got the ball back, and that was a big momentum shift within the game. But the fact that you have to declare so the other team knows that it's coming, kind of means that you have zero chance. I'll say this I think you should be allowed one undeclared onside kick. I think that would be an interesting loophole, that you're just allowed to do it once, and then from then on you need to declare. The other thing I would say is they ran a pretty nice play for the second onside kick they attempted at the end of the game with 13 seconds left or whatever it was, and their kicker nearly got the ball back, and there was a big scrum where they were all fighting for the ball. They should have run that one earlier, because that was actually really nicely sort of organized, whereas the one they went for didn't get close. Yeah, I think
so. And just throwing out basic statistics, they had scored the Bills up to that point on 7 of their 9 drives, which sounds absolutely terrible, and it is absolutely terrible. But simple math tells you that's a little over 20% stop rate. And literally the onside kick rate is under 10%. So just doing basic math right there, it's smarter to just kick the ball off and hope you can stop them once. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And
here's what I will say. This is where I hate the analytics, is like the analytics do have to be separated at times from what's happening in that individual game. It's what we always discuss about when teams, it says to go for it on 4th down, or it says doesn't. It's like you have to maybe use the analytics as an influence, but you also then have to say, we aren't stopping them, or we are. And the reality is the onside kick, there is just such a low chance of success. I like the idea of mixing something up, like that you would have gone into, like if he'd gone for it on 4th and 15 from his own 10-yard line, I get that at that stage, because you are saying we need to score and they are going to score when we give them the ball back. But the onside kick does feel like you're just handing good field advantage over. I kind of like it in the sense that it does show a willingness to do something different, but it was never going to work in that game. And what it really is a vote of huge no confidence for your defense. Like, it's hard to go back to them and be like, guys, we had to try something. So we tried the thing that had a pretty much, 0% chance of working. But yeah, I mean, it was stupid, but maybe he's got the stupidity out of his way. Going back to your larger point about him kind of ruining a talented Lions roster, I think that under I think that doesn't appreciate how big of a turnaround that the Lions have had under his leadership. Like, I think people forget how bad they were, that they were the laughing stock of the league, that they were, winning 1-2 games a season. I also think people really overselling how good Jared Goff is. He's had this whole Jared Goff rebuild. You think teams are clamoring to sign Jared Goff if he became available? I don't think so. I think teams know, like, this is right place, right time for Jared Goff, but that doesn't mean we want him. So, yeah, I think he's doing a very good job, and they could still end up winning the Super Bowl because they do have a ton of talent, and when they play well. Even on Sunday, I walked away from it. Their defense is concerning, as is the Bills, but you still walked away from it being like, wow, they're fast, and they can score a lot of points really quickly. Like, either one of those teams could win the Super Bowl. Either one of those teams could blow their opponent out in the Super Bowl, and either one of those teams could get blown out in the Super Bowl. Yeah. Like, everything is on the table for them in terms of what the postseason could look like.
I mean, the Bills have let up 86 points in their last 2 games. That's insane.
That's bad.
It's bad. Bad is one word to describe that.
I think that's what the analytics says. Bad.
Yeah. But I guess the counter to that is that they've also scored 90. But I guess the other major talking point from this game is Josh Allen, who pretty much, I would say, sealed up the MVP, barring some crazy last 3 weeks. But he's playing the Patriots, the Jets, and the Patriots. So I think those are going to be pretty prolific games for him. He is on another level right now. And I hope he can keep that form going into the playoffs, because he is kind of reaching that status where it's like literally you're seeing it play out in real time where he can win them the game despite having a defense that lets up 40 points. I mean, it didn't work against the Rams. They ultimately lost that game, but we're able to hold on here against the Lions. But he is single-handedly just carrying this team into the end zone drive after drive. It is very impressive.
Yeah, I think some of the Josh Allen praise is going a little overboard at the moment. Like, he does. It's the same issue I always had with Mahomes. There are these like backyard plays. He did the two-hand basketball pass over. It's cool, and I give him credit that to have the imagination in the moment to think of it. But also the skill level is not super high in that moment, so you get credit for the creative thinking. But people treat it as if, oh my God, the talent level there. I think sometimes we miss what the actual sort of separation from a skill perspective is. But no, he's playing extremely well.
I mean, I'm not saying he's playing well because of that play, but like
no, I know, but you know what I mean.
362 yards, 2 TDs, another 2 rushing. I mean, is like his QBRs the last 3 weeks have all been over 90, which is insane. 95, 90, 95. Those are like almost near perfect QBRs. Versus, who did I see? Someone had a 1 this week. I think it's the lowest ever a quarterback's ever had. I cannot remember which. It was one of the really bad quarterbacks from this week. Had a 1 QBR. It was atrocious. But anyway, like he's just amazing. You speak about the double-handed throw. Did you happen to see the throw where he was rolling out to his left and threw it like across his body about like 35 yards, a bullet, like back across to a receiver that was going like the opposite way he was going, and just hit him like right in stride? It was a rocket, like literally off his back leg, running the wrong way. His arm is so strong. It is.
No, the arm strength is crazy. And what
insane.
I do think the Bills have going for them at the moment is they have figured out, a little bit like Mahomes and Kelsey have, a lot of his receivers are very much on the same page as him. So as he rolls out and as some of those plays break down, they're doing a very good job of moving into open space. And he's trusting that they will move into that open space. And as a result of that, that's the thing that's allowing them to, kind of create those big plays seemingly out of nothing. Or when you feel like you have him scrambling for his life, and then all of a sudden it's a 40-yard reception, which is backbreaking for multiple purposes. It's the thing that's so painful about playing against the Chiefs, is that, you go from like, it's 3rd and 15, we're about to sack him for a 5-yard loss. And instead it's now 1st and goal from the 4. and like the game is over. And the Bills have that going for them. And you could see with the Lions, there was so many times that it just sucked the air and sucked the life out of the Lions because they were so close to getting that, turnover or change of possession or important sack, and then instead ended up with the Bills scoring again. But yeah, he's been good. But at the same time, just Jared Goff's been phenomenal for the last 2 weeks too. And I'm not, he's not getting this anywhere near the same amount of attention for obvious reasons. They're not as good as Jared Goff is not as good, but it is now Josh Allen's become that kind of media darling for the time being. And it means that, every time he sits down, he gets ESPN video saying like what an incredible technique as he sat on that bench. But yeah, no, it's cool. I would be happy if that's the Super Bowl again. I hope it's not a 42-48 Super Bowl, but I would be happy if that was this, because it is kind of nice to watch a game where you actually feel like one of the teams could get a stop. Like that did feel a little bit like watching a game of Madden.
Yeah. It a few more stops would have been nice. I'm okay if they score 40, but let's just say, they only score 6 out of 10, not 9 out of 10 drives.
I think low mid 30s is kind of perfect, because that means you probably had a couple stops. Once you're hitting 40, that really means that pretty much every possession.
Well, there might be quick plays, Maybe you got a lot of possessions.
But I don't want to watch a game that's either 3 and outs or touchdown drives. That also doesn't sound wonderful.
Love it. It's great for the in-game parlays. So the player I was talking about, I forgot. I remember now why I wanted to talk about it, because maybe it's finally the end of the Jameis Winston showcase era, because Jameis Winston put up a QBR of 3.6, which is the lowest for a starting quarterback this entire season. And that's coming off of the week before where he was at 37, which is still really bad. He now, in his last 3 weeks, has thrown 8 interceptions. This is what you get with Jameis Winston. He is a below average quarterback. And let's just put him on the bench and shut him up.
The thing that's so painful for me, and again, I don't want content driven by like gambling outcomes, but I bet against him so heavily in that Steelers Thursday night game, including in game, feeling so confident the Steelers could come back when they were like 6, 7, 8-1 at different moments in time. And not only did he did kind of fall apart over the course of that game, but produced that one stunning drive. The really good 4th down play that he has when they scored the touchdown, but also the one stunning drive where he like threw it over a Steelers secondary in the snow in a blizzard where he couldn't see anything. And somehow that's where he came through in the clutch. But yeah, he's awful. I mean, there's no doubting the fact that he's awful. Yeah. And I think the only positive for the Browns here is that maybe they can work their way into the number 1 overall pick.
No way. The Giants are not letting that happen.
You think the Giants? I mean, we're ruling out that the Giants are winning a game
anymore. Did you see? They went to Tim Boyle.
I know, but do you know? This is what worries me, though. I don't like, because it scares me when I'm betting against these bad teams, when the quarterback keeps rotating. What worries me is that eventually you stumble across a guy who has one good game. Like it's the Tommy DeVito thing, it's like all of a sudden.
But they've already played the Tommy DeVito card for 9 weeks, and he had that one game, and now the other 8 have just been shit.
But it scares me. We even saw it to a certain degree in the Commanders Saints game, where it was like, oh, this quarterback does not have it. We'll switch back to Ritter. And then I was like, oh, Ritter's actually pretty capable. Like if you just keep chopping and changing, eventually you might find a guy who can put together 3 good quarters of semi-competent play at the quarterback position. And that could be enough to win you a game. That's what would worry me. If I were the Giants, I would be giving strict instructions of like, we're not changing the court. We're not picking a guy up. We're not doing any of that, because if it turns out he's somewhat competent, we may end up costing ourselves like 4 draft picks.
Well,
in terms of order, I mean.
So right now, I think the Giants are actually sitting 2 behind the Raiders. So the Giants have left Falcons, Colts, Eagles. Slight worry, Eagles might be resting week 17, but maybe the Giants are resting too. They're resting for next season.
Who's playing us?
Falcons is a worry. The Falcons are
Yeah.
such also a dumpster fire. They could potentially beat the
Oh,
Falcons.
you could just have them throwing. It could be Kirk Cousins 6 pick sixes.
Colts also slight dumpster fire.
Yeah.
You might get Richardson like throwing interception, tackling the guy, having him fumble it, Richardson picking it back up, but then refumbling it. Like that's you could get that play in that game.
We criticize Bill Simmons. I don't watch a lot of or listen to much else from the Ringer. I saw one of their clips on social media where they're talking about that like double reverse they ran.
The parlay thing.
Yeah, where it's like you have a 40% completion rate and you're now running a play that needs 3 completed passes in order to be successful.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
I like that they compared it to like an in-game parlay. It's like, wait, let's take this thing that we know it's not going to hit, pair it with this thing, and then on the back end we pair it with this. That's a nice 3-way parlay. Let's do it.
And as if you turn to your offensive coordinator, like you and me working out a bet, and you're like, "What are the chances of that?" And you're like, 70-1. Not bad. I like those. I mean, I know it's not supposed to win, but you can't tell me it's as big as 70-1.
I didn't see. I'm sure they interviewed the person who made the pick six, but I would love to know what his reaction was like mid play, being like, there's no way he's going to throw this back. No way he's this fucking stupid. And then as soon as he like unloads, I mean, it was that guy. It was so obvious. Like he just the defenders saw it happening and just started running, and it was like perfect.
Well, he had ages too, because it wasn't a small. It's asking the guy to do like a 40-yard throw. Yeah. So he didn't even actually. Like sometimes you'd be like, oh, he had to read the play and anticipate. No, there you just had to actually just watch a guy line up to throw and then be like, okay, it's going to come directly across me. But yeah, that was terrible. And at a point in the game where it also didn't feel like they needed to do that, they'd just gone down for the first time in the game. But it felt more desperate than they were in that situation. So that was strange to me. But yeah, not good. And also another team that twice on Sunday obviously had 2 players like dropping the ball just before the end zone. I don't understand what's happening.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor, that one is like inexcusable. He's like one of the best running backs in the NFL, and he drops the ball before. Like, come on.
The other one, he's like trying to shift the ball into his other hand, so it's still stupid because but you can at least defend him that maybe he felt like he was starting to lose possession and he was trying to get more comfortable. But still, I don't get it. I don't know how much I would fine someone, but I would want in a running back or wide receiver's contract, like you lose your whole salary for the year if you do that. Like if you just drop the ball, you're not getting paid.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then just real quick, so that's who the Giants have, and then the Raiders have the Jags, the Saints, the Chargers. So they can beat the Jags. That's what the Giants need. I mean, ultimately, if I'm a Giants fan, I want them to get the number 1 pick and then trade out of it. That's my dream. And I think you have to, as an owner, tell Giants fans, listen, stick with it for one more absolutely shit year. We'll start to reload this year. We'll get hopefully the number 1 pick again next year. Then we get our quarterback, and then we're good to go.
Yeah, I mean it's true. There's doubts over every quarterback going into this draft, right? So, and maybe this is our way of quickly transitioning into a small preview ahead of the college football playoffs starting this weekend. But
I think about the Heisman.
Well, the Heisman too.
With the Heisman with Travis Hunter's girlfriend.
Hunter. Not standing up.
And then, so not only did she not stand up, which I think is a crazy one, because when you watch it in real time, I think she was just waiting for Travis Hunter to come over, because then she was standing up to hug him. But she didn't seem extremely excited. But some people are like that. Some people, like, I think they kind of knew it was coming. Like, he was a clear front runner, so it's one of those, it wasn't like a shock that she was going to jump out of her seat in shock. But the more egregious one is the one where afterwards he's taking pictures with people who are there in attendance. And I don't know if you saw that. He was like, oh, I got to take pictures, blah, blah. And she was kind of with him. And she was like, so I just have to sit here? And I went, like, sat down on the couch, and that's what she said. And that one was like, yeah, he just won the Heisman. He's going to be interviewed and taking pictures for a long time. Like, yes, you just have to sit there.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that. That's not. I think the standing up is defensible because
Yeah.
also it's not like you've not been unless she was clearly instructed beforehand. When he wins, stand up.
Yeah.
You're also in the moment. You're thinking about other things. You can
Yeah.
forget like whether or not it's your natural reaction or not. You know you can get lost in the like I'm just looking over there and I forget what I'm doing with my body. So I think people kind of overreacted to that a bit. But yeah,
My only comment for the Heisman is that I don't ever really care who wins the Heisman. I think it's a weird at this point. I think it's kind of strange who wins. It's nice maybe that a quarterback didn't win for once, but for someone who is now, he is definitely of the era of social media and presence outside of the game. I mean, he has his own podcast. He does like live Twitch and streams and things like that. He is very aware that he is selling his brand. For someone who has done such a good job of that, it's a little surprising to me that he didn't have someone at least help him prepare what he would say. Because I think winning the biggest award you can win as a college athlete and then just ad lib freeballing it on stage is a pretty bad look. If you are not the most eloquent of speakers. And I mean, not no offense to him, it wasn't terrible. Like it wasn't but it just was very incoherent. It was just kind of rambling, went from like one thing to the other, started doing the Little Wayne lyrics in between, which was kind of funny, but it came out of nowhere. Like it was weird. He was like starting to talk about something else, but then went back to it. Like it, a little structure, outline, key points would have been nice to see.
I agree with you. And look, as someone who previously has worked as a speechwriter, I think most people vastly overrate their ability to speak in public and underappreciate how much they need to practice or like just some key elements they can change that would make them way better at what they are being asked to do. But yeah, it was a little incoherent. Also, he was coming at it from he has a lot of topics to cover. He had his dad being in prison, not being able to see him play football and stuff. Numerous people he wanted to thank. Unless you structure that properly, you can just end up like, oh, I forgot to thank this
Yeah.
person. Now I need to go back, and now I want to get back onto my original thought. So I do agree with you. When you are as polished as that Colorado program is, and as he is, it's surprising to not extend that to the speech that you're going to give when you win.
He
But
said
it
it's
also,
crazy, man, like 12 times. He's
it
crazy, man.
also,
It's crazy, man. He said it like 12 times. Like, yeah, we get it. It's okay. It's
it
it's rare
also
for someone to win a Heisman. Yes, it is.
It also feels like, though, it's somewhat indicative of how that whole program runs, which is they were built to win him a Heisman in a sense, and then afterwards, kind of
The
is an
wheels have gone
afterthought.
off.
Yeah, it's like we had the
Who's
media
driving the bus?
machine. Yeah, we had the media machine there campaigning for you, and then as soon as you've won, well, the media machine doesn't need to exist anymore. And we haven't thought beyond that moment. So it does feel a little bit like it's the kind of Colorado program in a nutshell. And I feel like he wasn't the right winner, I have to say. But also, I don't think it's outrageous that he won. Like you had two very strong candidates, and whichever way you fall on them, I think is fair enough. For me, I think the wrong player won.
So now, do you want to do a little college football preview?
Let's go for it.
Okay.
We already know you've got Penn State winning the national championship or whatever it is. So it's
Oh,
in
I don't
every
think they'll
game
win a
by
national championship. What I
45
said
points
was,
along
if
the
there
way.
was a year they could win, this is the year they can win, because there is no powerhouse this year. I think they can stay in any game against any team they play. I do not think at all that they're a favorite to win those games. It would be a stretch if they won, but I think you can see it. The scary part, though, actually, I'll start off with the Penn State thing, is I don't know if you saw, but their backup quarterback entered the transfer portal and is not going to stay with the team. And Drew Aller, who is a phenomenal quarterback, has been hurt this season, and the backup had to come in and win them games. And he is a good backup. Like he's good. And not only that, but they actually put him in sometimes, like in different sets. He'll come in for a few plays because he's a really good runner. So they'll run some sort of like options and things like that with him. So you're already losing maybe 4 or 5 plays a game that you put him in that have been, for the most part, pretty successful. But now you're also running a very high risk that if anything happens to Drew Aller in 4 games, they have 4 games left. It's not like it's like one game. This is like a long second season now.
Well, it might be one game.
It might be one game, but it could be 4. It's not good. And I kind of agree with Franklin. Like it's an easy fix. You just make the transfer window start after the football playoffs. Like, I don't know why the fuck they're doing this. It's for the sport itself. It's such a dumb look for the sport to start a transfer portal window before the sport is actually done. It's fucking stupid.
It's dumb for 2 reasons. One, for this example of a team involved in the playoffs losing a player who's decided to transfer. 2, because, and again, going back to these like media machines and how you think about coverage, you would have thought that you would have separated the transfer portal opening till after the college playoffs finish, even maybe timing it so you got after the Super Bowl, because you might think, oh, because if you want to, how do we get news coverage surrounding college football in March or end of February would probably be ideal, because you don't want to overlap with March Madness, but you want to go, it opens February 10th, and then you get a kickstart, you get coverage there because there's transfers to talk about and, transactions to go over at a time when no one would speak about college football. So you would just think from a pure sort of marketing communication standpoint, this is the moment in time when people speak about college football the most, and you're having activity basically kind of being lost in the discussion because there are bigger things going on. So it's stupid in terms of both hurting the product and also hurting the kind of business behind the product. But yeah, it seems really, really stupid and such an easy fix.
Yeah, it's I understand it from the player's perspective. Like if I'm that quarterback, I get it, because I mean, the big thing for Penn State was Drew Aller announced he's coming back for another year. So now a quarterback who could be a starter on a majority of teams is going to have to sit another year. I get it. When the window's open, you don't want to miss out on a team that is a good team that needs a quarterback, and you lose out that spot to someone else, and then you end up on like Cincinnati or something like that. That's not going to get the high profile coverage. Like, I get it from his perspective. When millions of dollars are now on the line and you're 20 years old, yeah, go for it. Like, I don't hold it against that kid at all.
No, for the player perspective, it makes sense. I don't understand why it needs to be done now from a college football perspective or from the team perspective. Like, I don't know why delaying it a month or 6 weeks. Yes, you want them to maybe be available for sort of spring activities potentially, but it's not like he needs to now be available to report for practice January 1st. So I don't see who it benefits. I get why the player does it for the reasons you said. You don't want the other spots to disappear while you do the good guy thing and wait for your team to finish their season. But it doesn't really, and the almost surprising thing in an era of in a sport that's been rife with like backdoor deal making and secrets being kept, you would think if you're him, you're like, can we agree to this? And we're going to announce it like 3 weeks from now. Like, I'm going to come and be the quarterback. Like, it's surprising that they kind of can't figure out a way where he could have said, I'm committing to this. There's a little bit of a risk here for you that I might get hurt, or that suddenly I star in the playoffs and Penn State wants to keep me, but I'm pretty much certain to be coming here. Can you hold off recruiting someone else until then so that I can also be available for my team? But yeah.
Yeah, so we can quickly cover, I guess, the first round. You have Indiana versus Notre Dame. That's on Friday. Notre Dame's a pretty heavy favorite. I think like 8-point favorite. I don't know. I think Notre Dame will win this, but I don't think Notre Dame is very good. The problem is I don't think Indiana's that great either. I think they put up a ton of points and their offense is pretty good, but I don't know. This is a game I would probably I'm thinking about maybe avoiding. I kind of like the idea maybe of teasing up Indiana to go into double digits and hope they can keep it within a score or so. But I don't know. I don't think Notre Dame's that great. I think Notre Dame gets that bump of being Notre Dame, but they really have not beaten anyone. Their best win is Navy.
No, I think, but this is the tough thing with both these teams, right? Is that neither of them has
Indiana's
tested
best
themselves.
win is nothing. Michigan,
yeah,
like
which I guess looks a little better now in the post Michigan beating Ohio State. You can kind of start to spin a narrative that where Indiana's season looks better, and this is, I guess, a kind of a rivalry game, I suppose.
An in-state Indiana game,
in a way, even though it doesn't feel like it, but sort of should be, but doesn't feel like it at all. But yeah, I would. I don't know. I feel like we saw Indiana get so exposed by Ohio State and that one time they really needed to prove themselves that for that reason I would take Notre Dame minus the 7 points.
But I think the thing is, like, I think Ohio State is a much better team than Notre Dame, though. So like, it'll be close. I mean, I would probably take Notre Dame to win money line, but the point starts to get that's a lot of points. So then you have Saturday, the morning game is Penn State, SMU, and Penn State is an 8.5 point favorite. Yeah, I think Penn State will easily handle SMU here. Big Ten ACC bias, I guess, whatever you want to call it, but I think they'll win this pretty comfortably. I think they'll win this by at least 10, and I think Tyler Warren, this is going to be his big game. He's the tight end for Penn State, who's had a phenomenal season as a tight end, over 1,000 yards receiving. I think he's going to have like 150 yards this game because they don't have the people to stop him. So look for Warren to have a huge game. This will be like here he is, the best tight end in college football. He's going to be a top 10. This is the game that puts him into like a top 10 pick.
Here's a real question. So I'll side with you and Penn State covering the spread. We've kind of like semi-converted friend of the podcast, Ollie, to occasionally throw college football games into parlays and accumulators. How much do we talk him into just taking all four favorites here and putting them into his money line, and how disastrous is it for him?
As a money line, I'm okay with it.
Because actually, there's a big separation. I think when you see, I was thinking about this ahead of us recording, like Penn State are 8.5 point favorites, but they're 1-3 to win the game. In the NFL, an 8.5 favorite is like 1-4. There's a big difference. I think because they realize in college football, like the upset is kind of more likely, like you have weird outcomes. It means that you actually, even though every favorite is at least a touchdown favorite, you're actually not looking at terrible money line odds. Like you throw them all in and a couple other things this weekend, you're like, wow, I got myself a 6-1 pretty fast, and they should all win.
Well, I'll tell Ollie, this one is a money line lock.
So this one loses. To SMU by 40.
And then the next game on that Saturday midday, so the next game sequentially is Texas versus Clemson. Texas is a 10.5 point favorite. I am all in on Texas here. I think they are a much better team here. Lost to Georgia twice, both extremely close games. And Georgia's obviously, number one in the country probably. So I don't think Clemson is very good. Their quarterback's pretty good. He's decent. He was the number one recruit a few years ago. So he obviously has talent, but I just think overall Texas just has so much more power on both sides of the ball that they'll just wear them down. They're going to outpower them and outmuscle them. This could be, again, 10.5 is a lot. I would side with Texas covering this. But that is, when you think about a playoff game being an 11 point spread, that's a lot. But Texas is good. They're strong.
I'm going to make this easy. I'm just taking the favorites to cover all of these spreads. So I'm just going blowouts across the board. So
I guess part of me doesn't want to, because I would like to see good games. because I don't have a
Yeah.
lot of, I don't have a lot of it. Besides Penn State, I don't really care one way or the other who wins it. It's not like this is like the Pittsburgh Steelers where I want to see them get murdered. Like, I don't really have any investment in any of these teams, so I would like to see good games. So when you take that spread, it kind of, you're hoping to watch blowouts, which kind of sucks. But I agree with you. Like, they're not; those aren't bad bets.
The other thing that worries me is when you take 4 teams to all win by a touchdown or more. That scares me too. Like, you just feel like, well, someone has to not be at their best, whether or not that's an upset. If that's Texas winning by 8 instead of winning by 12, like they could be in complete control of that game for the whole time. But yeah. And then Tennessee, Ohio State to wrap things up.
I was going to say, speaking of the game that might screw you, I honestly think this is the game that might screw you, because I traditionally have really liked Ohio State over the years. And I would always think that they are one of the best teams in the country, that always got that, like, they're in the Big Ten. The Big Ten's not that great, but I've always thought like, I'm always pretty high on Ohio State. I've watched a majority of their games this year, and there's just something about them. I don't know if it's Will Howard, their quarterback, that I'm just not a huge fan of. I don't think he's that great of a quarterback. I don't think he is, like, if they're a top 5 team, I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback, if you get what I'm saying. Like, I think he's not of that caliber. They worry me. Their receivers are great, so if they can just somehow get the ball to them, they'll make plays. But that offense just overall doesn't look like it has in the past. And that's a worry, playing a Tennessee team that is a good SEC team. They have a pretty strong defense. They have a freshman quarterback who's probably going to make a few mistakes, but is also going to go for it because he's a freshman, and he's kind of got that, like, attitude with it. This is a worry. This is a concern game here.
Yeah. I have a little bit more faith, but obviously the Michigan experience scares me a bit, because you're talking about a team that did just lose outright as extremely heavy favorites in not a must-win game, but kind of a must-win game, big rivalry game. So there's certainly no excuses for that one in terms of how much it meant to them. So it's a concern. Last time out, we saw that they were not super reliable and maybe get a bit too smart for themselves, where they do try, like, this version of their team is maybe more suited to kind of like grounding and pounding their wins. And they want to have, like, Ryan Day feels like he's insistent at times at having to try and, like, prove themselves against a national media almost. But yeah, it was, it's a little bit of a worry, but still, I'm going to trust all 4 favorites first time out. And I mean, what an opportunity. How do you feel about the fact that we have, 3 college football playoff games on Saturday and 2 NFL games on Saturday?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a full day. You've penciled in that Saturday it's a dead day.
Plus other sports, like if you're like me,
UFC.
Yeah, right? You've got UFC and boxing. You've got Usyk Fury.
Oh, boxing, yeah. Fury. That's what I was thinking. Boxing. Sorry.
Yeah, but then also just normal football too. So for me, it's my day will start with Aston Villa Man City at 1:30 here, and we'll finish at 5:30, 6 a.m. Sunday. Just nonstop sports consumption, which is maybe a little much. Like, I feel like we could have done 2 college football games on Friday. I could have lived with that. And then, or one of the NFL games on Friday. Something to...
Yeah.
It surprises me in a way that they didn't do one of the NFL games on Friday, given the fact that they're going to ask these teams to play again on Wednesday. And so you would have thought, like...
just Friday, Wednesday.
Yeah, like that's a bit more manageable than Sunday, Saturday, Wednesday, but who knows?
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, I guess we'll call it a day and look forward to a good weekend.
Sounds good.
Sports. All right, I'll talk to you later.
See you.